Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Sports Talk Network channel, and welcome here to my Riverdale review day of Riverdale review and theories. And this being season number 3, episode number 6, Manhunt. This episode, a lot of stuff going down, interesting cliffhanger into the next episode. Being away for 2 weeks certainly been interesting on its own right. In its own right. So let's just jump into it. Talk about Riverdale. I mean, we got here on Riverdale. Archie and Kevin look for the Shadow Lake crew, while Veronica tries another angle to clear Archie's name. Betty interrogates the parents. Many things. So it's been 2 weeks since Riverdale last aired. Wednesday's episode opens the morning after Archie's breakup. Manhunt is on, but Archie is determined to get his answers about his conviction to Lake with Kevin. Hiram puts Sheriff on a covert mission to cover up loose ends that could impact Archie's chances of ever being exonerated. Veronica runs into legal trouble when she tries to prove Archie's innocence. Betty gets conflicting stories from the parents about who killed Featherhead and finds out they covered up another murder back in the day. Jughead, Sweet Pea, and Fangs interrogate about Warden Norton. And here's looking down there, so it was interesting in its own right. Archie's actions make sense from his point of view, since despite being the most wanted person in Riverdale, Archie spends much of this episode in plain sight. Determined to talk with Cassie Bullock's robbery accomplices, whose testimony sent him to Juvie, he and Kevin drive out to Shadow Lake. And Archie, the baseball cap, trying all the calls. Yeah. I don't know. But the same time, things everywhere. Anyways, moving forward. Unfortunately, having already gotten Archie convicted, Brooks' accomplices had outlived their usefulness to Hiram and has become a liability. And does the dirty work before Archie and Kevin arrive, but they realize one of the men is still alive and rush him to the hospital. The man ends up scrambling to, can't even read my own writing. The man ends up succumbing to his gunshot wound, though, and Archie feels guilty. He assumes, perhaps correctly, that Hiram wouldn't have ordered their deaths if he hadn't broken out of Juvie. Kevin, being the good friend that he is, points out that the men weren't innocent. Archie takes no comfort in that, though, and asserts that people keep getting hurt around him because of his actions. Archie is, of course, being way too hard himself, but he is in a very difficult spot emotionally and logically. He went to Juvie to prevent people around him from getting hurt, but he ended up having to fight his fellow inmates. And now, after his escape, 3 people are dead because of their connection to him. Archie decides the only way to protect his loved ones is to take himself out of the equation by leaving Riverdale with Jughead. Veronica is devastated, especially because she actually gets Archie exonerated in this episode. After looking through Archie's case file, she realizes the footage of interrogating Bullock's accomplices was edited. Some of the footage is missing. She figures out Hiram had it on the desktop in Hermione's office, and she emails it to someone before getting arrested for breaking into the office. Attorney McCoy bails her out, though, and then goes to see a judge about the footage. The judge clears Archie of the murder charge, plus the tapes prove it coerced the men to lie, so he is going to jail. Archie is grateful, of course, but from this point of view, the exoneration doesn't matter to him. Because of Hiram's relentless determination to ruin his life, he would always feel like the sword of Damocles was hanging over his head and the heads of his loved ones if he were to stay in Riverdale. He thinks he's saving Veronica from continual pain down the road by breaking her heart now. Alright, but one man's opinion there. Is Archie Endgame? Well, at this point, they're literally headed in different directions. Based on the promo for next week, Archie and Jughead are headed for the farm, and Archie might be moving on romantically. It seems very harsh and callous, considering everything that Veronica just did for him to free him in this episode. That just happened. But then what we saw for the preview of the next episode. But in the end, I guess if he truly never plans on returning to Riverdale, it's understandable. Still, it kind of feels like he's pulling it all together, and as much as I love Friends, yeah. But of course, it was teased that a Veronica Reggie romance would be explored this season, so Veronica wouldn't be waiting around forever. It'll be interesting to see how quickly she and Reggie get together, though, and how they get together, period. And also, for me, how long they stay together. Because that's the biggest question of all, at least for me, individually, for the span of Riverdale. But will Archie ever get back together? That is the main question, and that's the question that's on everybody's mind moving forward. Is that the end game, like I said in the top of this paragraph, so to speak? Is that going to be the end game? Are they going to be back together? Never say never. It may not look like that right now, but that's the point of how they're writing this series other than this season. We got episodes left before we get the end of this season in its own right, so right long range. So it's see how it goes. But I'd say it's 100% still possible. I wouldn't even be surprised if it happened before the end of this season, but I could also see it being dragged out because of the reason I shared. And as we're talking about the theories part of this episode, who is the Gargoyle King? We'll learn a few things from this episode. One, the Gargoyle King has disciples that he meets with in the woods. Queen is one of them, so Jug, Sweet Pea, and Fangs interrogate him. The Queen says that while Archie was Norton's pawn, Norton was someone else's pawn. Norton was sent quest cards by someone. And refers to someone as the man in the black suit, and so Jughead knows them. Jughead initially thinks it's Hiram, but by the end of the episode, he doesn't seem so sure. Most of the revelation, Queen says that Archie's symbol means sacrifice, meaning he'll still be in danger. He's still fated to die. Jug, Sweet Pea, and Fangs later find the Queen dead at the Serpent Camp with the same symbol branded on his forehead. Meanwhile, Betty does some interrogating of her own and gets frustrated by the parents' refusal to tell the truth. Penelope accuses Daryl Doyley, the other game master, of accidentally killing Principal Featherhead. She says Daryl was in love with her and wanted them to ascend together. She declined, but Daryl had neglected the empty cups. Daryl later killed himself in his car via carbon monoxide poison. Well, there you go. Betty goes to see the coroner, though, and learns that Daryl had no trace of carbon monoxide in his lungs, but did have oleander in his system. So presumably he was murdered and his body was placed in the car. Betty questions former Sheriff Keller, who admits he covered up the murder to protect the Midnight Club. But he insists Penelope is the killer because blossoms grow oleander in the garden. If I can say that word. Betty questions Penelope again, but she insists she would never use oleander to murder someone, specifically because it leaves traces. Then she turns the blame on Alice, who wrote the article about Daryl's suicide. Betty tries to interrogate Alice, but then the Gargoyle King breaks into their house in a scene that brought me back to Pretty Little Liars. Remember when Avery would break into the girl's house like every day or every other day. Anyways, moving on. The one rather curious takeaway from that scene is how FP just happens to show up. The Gargoyle King appears in their living room. Alice and Betty flee upstairs to Betty's room. They find a skull and tombstone on Betty's bed, and then FP climbs through Betty's bedroom window. So if I had to rank 1 through 5, and I haven't done this actually for a couple weeks in general, and I should, obviously, it's part of the series of the title, Reviewing Theories. Who do I think the Gargoyle King is? My top 5. Number 5, Betty. Number 4, Alice. Number 3, FP. Number 2, Hiram Lodge. And number 1 would be Hermione. That's mine. Their top 5. Moving on. Anyways, I don't want FP to be the Gargoyle King, but it could make sense. Does he really want Jug to stop playing for his own protection, or is he worried about what Jughead might figure out? Or could he be a reluctant disciple of the Gargoyle King who got roped into following him back in the day and now was forced to do his bidding? Anyways, here's some Riverdale randomness also just to share. Alice Shirley is to be seen as a terrible mother for sending Betty off to the Sisters of Quiet Mercy at the end of the episode. It was undeniably a cruel and horrible decision, but I think she was genuinely trying to protect Betty from the Gargoyle King. And of course, TNG is clearly being played there, though, so she's already failed. As far as I can remember, this was the first Riverdale episode without an opening voiceover by Jughead. I could be wrong, but that's what I take from it. My take, I guess, Tuesday. Person to seize up while in Evelyn's presence. It can be or can't be a coincidence. Who knows, right? It was nice to see Archie and Kevin hanging out one-on-one, even if the circumstances were under rather different unfortunate circumstances. And I know Archie was wearing a baseball cap, but are we supposed to think that no one at the hospital recognized the most wanted person in Riverdale? Again, going back to what we talked about earlier. Remember who you are. I still gotta watch. I still gotta do sorry about being too close to the camera. Anyways, I still have to do a reaction to the Lion King teaser trailer. I might be doing that next week. It didn't fit into my number of videos today. I mean, this week. Otherwise, I would have had to make another one to make it 6 even. I like to do even numbers. As much as I'm okay with 5 odd numbers, I'm just a weirdo. In that way, I know a little bit whatever about it. Even Steven, right? My name is Steven. So I like to have even number episodes every single week. So this week I had 4. Next week I'll have 4 because the show This Is Us just had its fall finale. So it's going into a holiday break, a little break until we get to the next calendar year 2019, and then it'll resume. So next week, then I will slide in. There's my 4th video next week because I'll have my NFL podcast, Talking Packers with Steve. Steve's Wrestling Rambo, talking WWE on the road to TLC pay-per-view event in December. I'll have my Riverdale review because there's another Riverdale episode moving forward here. And then the 4th video will be the Lion King teaser trailer reaction. I've already heard many good things about it. I did see it on Thanksgiving night. I was watching the games. I did see it fully there, but I haven't watched it fully since. So hopefully I'll still be surprised by things and such like that. I'm looking forward to talking about it and talking about my memories of Lion King and what I'm looking forward to in this live action, or we want to call it CGI remake of the movie. Because I'm going to be there or try to be there day 1. But again, I'll talk about that in that video next week. My next week of video is Monday through Friday, hopefully. This one having to be on a Saturday of this week. It is what it is, right? In the end, some may care, some could care less. But to me, I sometimes care too much. But anyways, hope you all have a great rest of your weekend. You're welcome to follow me on Instagram and Snapchat. I still haven't used the calling feature on Snapchat, so hope to use that at some point. But anyways, at STVK_06. Hope to hear from you all then. Especially if you're 18-21 females, Spanish. But beyond that, anyways, hope to hear from y'all. And above all else, as always, take care.